of life, and we are all connected. And as we affect a single strand, the whole web is affected.
A picturesque lake near San Diego, a city park campground, a ferocious guard dog, and a woman who lives in her van.
I bought the van in Washington State at the end of 2012. My saving grace.
Having recently seen the movie Nomadland, I was intrigued to learn more about her situation. She invited me for coffee and I asked her about her experience. She reluctantly shared her very sad story with me, but asked that I keep her identity private.
Beautiful view of the lake. I got an espresso machine as a wedding gift, and I've been making them ever since.
She's intelligent, with a college education, but had suffered from some health issues.
I had a flight career. I took flight lessons and was working on commercial pilot from the time I got my divorce in 2006. It was detected that I do not have the upper sinus cavity, so there was no back pressure for the eustachian tubes to release. And my eustachian tubes were collapsing when I was going up and down in altitude. So I had to abandon my career 50 hours shy of a commercial pilot certificate. Yeah, it was disappointing, but I figured my health was more important than flying. It was painful to fly in those conditions. And then in 2010, I went to Evergreen State College in Washington. It's alternative learning, and I studied consciousness and sustainability for my bachelor's degree. I did a one-year course called The Dance of Consciousness, which blew my mind, and I think it has helped me survive this. I have for a long time been on survival mode, trying to figure out where I'm going to stay from night to night in a lot of cases. And over the past 9 years, haven't had much stability in my housing. I bought the van when I was living in Washington State, and I moved down here in January of 2013, and I moved into the apartment I rented the end of January. When I moved into the apartment, I started feeling vertigo. I'm disabled. I have a digestive condition, and they say sometimes that the digestive condition can cause some dizziness. And so I attributed it to that, and I stopped driving the van, and I parked it.
But the real cause of her feeling sick was that the apartment had toxic mold, and being exposed to it caused brain swelling and cognitive issues.
The condition that was created from the environment in the apartment, that caused the psychosis when I got exposed to the mycotoxins.
Her trouble started after she'd had an operation that had had some complications, and part of her therapy was to soak in a bathtub, but the tub itself was exposing her more to the toxic mold.
A part of my therapy from the surgery I found helpful was to bathe. And so while I was filling up the bathtub, the cracks were getting bigger when I would get in and soak. And as they were getting bigger, they were toxifying the water. I was marinating in mold. That went on for 2.5 years. Mold is pretty much benign. People can be allergic to mold, but what is damaging is what mold carries. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that once pesticides and building material chemicals and parabens from cleaning supplies become airborne by mold, that's what makes people sick. It's what mold carries. tiny particles in the air that you breathe in, on your food that you eat, that you breathe, that land on your skin. Yeah, it's pretty nasty stuff. It caused things like gout and shingles and a thing called trigeminal neuralgia. It's a numbing of the side of my face. And this is all from the toxins, the pain, the anxiety when I get exposed. And the laundry list. I can't tell you how many things are impacted by being exposed to those toxins. They relocated us about 10 months after I kind of blew the whistle. I called the city and told the city of what was going on in that apartment. There were 3 buildings with 9 units each in the same condition. And they were uninhabitable. They ended up having to remodel. They couldn't remove the mold because of the design of the building. It was underneath the building. So I was unable to move back into the apartment.
Her van had been parked in the underground garage of the apartment building where the mold was at its worst, but at the time, it was her only option.
I bought the van to move down here. I had the van parked because of the health issues. It gave me vertigo. I wasn't able to drive for about 3 years. But when the apartment became infested, I didn't have anywhere to go. I'm on a very limited income. I'm on disability. So it was my only shelter. And so I took shelter in the van. My saving grace. It has been, literally. And I've kept it together by a shoestring and duct tape. The transmission was going out when I left the apartment, and it completely went out. It wouldn't go out of second gear. I couldn't go faster than 35 miles an hour, so I was just driving around town. That's all I would do. And it's a tricky transmission. I've had some issues with that. Now it's the differential is going out. But it's 1989, so it's older. The van had been impacted also by the toxins in the apartment. It was parked in the underground parking structure that was unable to be remediated when they remodeled. So it was where all of the mold collected, was down in this sub-ground level parking structure. I had to gut it. It was a touring van. It had the running lights on the top, the 4 captain's chairs, the futon fold-down bench seat. It all had to go. The flooring, the ceiling, the dashboard. It all had to go. It's still a cargo van inside. The only thing that's left in there is the driver's seat that has original material. I just got the insulation last month. So it was like an ice box. I just need to get the differential fixed and new tires.
She has received some assistance to find housing, but it's a long and difficult process of social services and Section 8 vouchers.
I stayed there in Ventura trying to find another place. Then in beginning of October, I left Ventura County and ended up in Hesperia, San Bernardino County, where I was looking for housing. That fell through, so I ended up back in Ventura County for a short time and took up the WOLF program, the Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms, where I spent 9 months in Mariposa County.
The WOLF program is an organization of organic farms that offer people a place to stay and meals in exchange for manual labor on the farms. But for Grace, it proved to be just too much physical work.
They want 35 hours for food and shelter a week, and that's a lot for food and shelter.
How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm great. Are you going to be extending your stay with us?
I think I might, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
See ya. Hey, come here. That's Dominic, our host. I feel safe with him here, knowing that he's right down the hill. I think he has a wife and kids. I just met him yesterday. Because I've been here in California, Southern California, where the weather's fairly warm, I've been able to take up shelter mainly in tents. And I prefer sleeping in tents over the van because the air is fresher.
Well, she has a safe place to stay tonight, but at $30 a night, her time here is limited. The next several days will be spent in parking lots or side streets. While she's here, though, she can take advantage of the portable bathtub that she bought at a thrift store.
This is a collapsible, portable bathtub.
I was very concerned about the condition of her tires, so I went to a couple of used tire stores and I was able to get 2 tires for her. I caught up with her the next day in a parking lot where she'd been staying. We drove to the place where she was going to be spending that night, and we tied them onto the roof of the van. She would go to a tire store the next day and have them mounted on the rims. This seemed like an okay place to stay, so I parked my van behind hers and spent a night on the street. For some, van life is a choice. They want to drop out of the rat race or park their nice motorhome by the beach and work through the internet. But for many, it's their only option. Circumstances force them out of their conventional home and into their car or van if they're lucky. Work issues or health issues can leave you without an income and struggling to make ends meet. So next time you see a homeless person, just think, there, but for the grace of God, go I.